Hey everybody, good Sunday morning to you. I am going to add Eddie Lazary to this, and we are going to do a recording of the Change Your POV podcast. So bear with me. Technology, gotta love it. Eddie Lazary wants, there we go, add. Bring Eddie on camera.
Well, good morning.
It's like we know what we're doing.
I know, right? Only took 2 days.
One day later, and it's like a whole new world.
All right, I only have one little dilemma. Ready for this? So I'm listening. I'm listening to this Facebook Live. However, when we record, we're in the other microphone. So let's get set up really quick on the microphone recording, and that way I can take these out and we can move forward. Does that work?
Oh, so you need me.
So I just need you to talk in your microphone, your podcasting microphone. So I can get this
into what though?
Into your whatever. I'm recording. I just want to make sure that.
Are you on your computer doing Facebook Live or
no, on my phone?
Yeah.
So
but I'm not using any mic.
You're not using any mic?
No.
No, but is your mic there?
Yeah, but I don't have it hooked up to anything.
Oh. Are you on your computer on Facebook Live or on your phone?
No, on my phone.
All right. So you hook your podcast mic up like we normally would, so we can record the show.
Onto the
computer. Yeah, correct. I'm recording, but I need you to be talking in your microphone.
Okay. So let me.
Oh, so we got to hop on the Zoom too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Forgot about that.
Jesus. See, folks, we thought we were cool, but we're not so freaking cool.
Oh, bear with us. Yes. So
Damn it.
It's how many episodes have we done now?
Let's just do our regular. Instead of
do our
live. That.
Okay. Let's just do our live then.
Because we already started doing the live. So
okay, good. Let's not screw
everybody
over.
Let's not screw anyone over and break the internet.
Okay. All right. Let's. So what did you have on your schedule?
Today is talking about gratitude.
Let's talk about that.
So gratitude, being grateful for things, right?
So hey,
I am grateful for you, Eddie.
I think are you grateful that your wife is on listening to your live?
Well, that's what she does.
Yep. Does that make you nervous at all?
Nope.
Really?
I can hear her. She's listening to some video out there about ketogenesis.
Oh.
Well, she's not now because she's watching us, but.
Okay, that's very deep. That's very deep for this early in the morning.
Yeah.
Ketogenesis. But anyway, gratitude.
Ketogenesis, yeah. That's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother show all by itself.
Right. Yeah. So no, yes, now she stopped. Well, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Can you see that?
I love my wife. You're so full.
Is it backwards though? It's backwards though, huh?
It's backwards because I don't know how to flip it around.
If it's backwards, hold on. Maybe this one works.
Nope.
Yeah, yours is yours is backwards too. What does yours say?
Be the change you wish to see in the world.
Oh wow, you say that all the time. You got a coffee mug made.
That's Mr. Gandhi.
Oh, there you go. So we both are sharing a cup of coffee with our own heartfelt slogans on them.
Correct.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So. And that's great. I'm very grateful for this cup of coffee.
I am very grateful for my I love my wife cup in coffee in my I love me wife. Let me say that again. I totally fucked that up. I'm very grateful for my coffee in my I love my wife cup. There we go.
I can hear it. It's echoing out there. You're an ass, Dan. I love you, but I can hear myself repeat it out there. So
put your earphones in, Dan.
She's laughing. All right. So gratitude.
Yeah.
It literally is that simple. be grateful for what you have in your life
Yeah.
now, not what you want to be in your life or what you think needs to be in your life or keeping up with the Joneses or whatever, right?
Yeah.
What did Patty Catter just came on?
Yeah.
She said, I wish my coffee would make itself right now. LOL. But I am grateful to have Heroes Media coffee. Yes.
There we go.
Good job, Adam Bird. I'm going to make it in the next 60 seconds.
Nice.
Lovely.
And you can see my wife is also.
Now your wife's on too.
Yes.
What the hell is wrong with the world?
Yeah, right. So, if you love your wife as much as we do, go ahead and click on the heart button a few times. Heart, 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 heart. Hold on, let me lead the way. Ready? Can you see that? Yes, I love my wife. There. You can do the same, folks, when you're out there watching this.
This has gone totally sideways.
It has. All right, let's go back to it again. Gratitude, being grateful for what we have. I think you said the key word there, though. What you have now, right? I mean,
present.
Often
present.
It's really
present.
It's really easy. I mean, I love living. Here's the thing, right? There's three states of mind. In my mind, there's three states of being. There's always looking in the past, right? In that rearview mirror, that hindsight 2020 thing, right? The I wish I would have, I wish I could have, what if, right? As a veteran, combat veteran, oftentimes I find myself living there a lot more than I should, right? Because I lost guys in combat, and I'm always living in this what if. What if I'd done this different? And I look back and I think, wow, I started my own business and that was a failure, but I learned a lot, right? So all this living in the past. And then there's the living in the future, right? That you and I talked yesterday at length about getting sponsorships for the show, and that's all in the future stuff, right? And start, and how is Battlesite Technologies going, and how are all these other, so all that's future, right? And then there's this third place that we don't really spend a whole lot of time in, but, well, let me say this. It's this third place that we spend all of our time in, that we spend less of our time in mentally, and that's the present, right? We can only live in the present, but oftentimes we don't really live in the present, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think even though you're living in the present, I think it's the least amount of focus is put on that.
Correct, right.
And, I mean, I'm not going to be the one that says you can't. You have to learn from the past, right? Mm-hmm. So that's part of the idea is analyze what you've done in the past or what history teaches us, right? Actually learn it and then don't make those same mistakes again. Try not to. Because too often you see these cycles. We know it. There's cycles in society, within ourselves. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results,
insanity. You're
basically insane, right? Mm-hmm. So knock it off. Do something to break the cycle.
So do what?
That's what it's about.
So do what?
Breaking that cycle.
You say do something. Do what? Give me specifics.
Do something different. Do it differently. So if you have an awful, I'll go back to coffee.
Okay.
Because since we're talking, but you can use this at any part of your life, right?
Yeah.
So you make a cup of coffee that sucks every morning. Why does it suck?
Because you're a bad barista.
Right. Because I'm a bad barista. Right. Well, that could be it.
Yeah.
Because you suck at making coffee. So you know what? Why don't you get on the Google machine there and look at the way to brew the perfect cup of coffee and freaking do it.
Yeah.
Execute on that. Or go get better beans or different beans. Maybe they could be worse beans, but that's your taste and that's what you like. So Who knows? Use filtered water versus non. Do something different. It's that simple.
I like those, they're really expensive. Those beans that are eaten by the monkey and the monkey shits them out. You know what I'm talking about?
I've heard about this stupid. Yes.
Those are my favorite beans.
You do not like those.
I don't.
You do not.
I never tried it. I don't know.
Jesus.
Maybe it would be
crapped out beans. Crapped out monkey
beans. You know what I'm grateful for? I'm grateful that I'm 41 years old and Mother Nature still reminds me on occasion that I get zits, right? I got this monster thing right here. It's so big. My daughter asked me
See,
yesterday.
never would I even say it though. See, here's the thing.
Well,
That's something it shows that's all on your inside.
it is.
That's
It
all
is.
insecurities and like, holy crap, man, I got this giant pimple. I didn't even see it until you said
Well,
something.
now you can see it, right? Now it's the only thing you see. So
No,
instead of
not.
gazing into my eyes like you normally do.
Because people, you know what, Eddie? People don't give a shit.
I know. My daughter does. Yesterday
She does, but that's because
she asked me she said, "Dad, it's so big, are you going to give it a name?"
Because, well done, Hannah.
Yeah, leave it to her. Anyway,
because that's what kids are there for.
Yeah. Well, she's got one right here on her chin. So we were on our way to the dump yesterday, and we were comparing zits. It was pretty fun. Good stuff.
Nice. But you know what I'm saying? In life, you'll get hung up on that whole zit thing.
Right.
Nobody gives a shit.
I know.
Really. Nobody cares. You'll go to work tomorrow, and not one person is gonna give a shit.
I'll see everybody's eyes deflect. Like they'll look at me and they'll like deflect, and I'll be self-conscious. I'll be just like, yeah, okay.
But nobody cares.
I know.
And you shouldn't care either.
No, I'm gonna like
be grateful.
I'm gonna get my mustache. I'm gonna do a comb over.
Comb over.
Oh God.
Be grateful. It's just a pimple.
There you go. Right? It could be worse. It could be. I don't know. A lot of things could end up there, right? I don't know what, but.
So I think we're going to start calling this Saturday, Sunday thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
Live. Coffee with Bennett and Eddie.
Coffee with Bennett. I love it, man. I think it's a good idea. Oh, so not to derail. I'm not going to keep apologizing. We'll just have a conversation. So last night, I couldn't sleep because I threw my back out yesterday, sitting in my chair, and I went to get up and I twisted wrong, and I'm like, ugh! And so like my back is all jacked up, right? So last night I'm like rolling around, like just uncomfortable. I couldn't sleep, so I ended up just surfing through Netflix, and there's it's a new release. It's called The Push. I sent you the link to it. Have you seen that?
Yeah, Danielle and I were clicking through trying to figure out something to watch.
Oh, dude.
Last week.
Yeah.
And we didn't watch it, but we watched the trailer.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh yeah. But it seems good, but then it's kind of like, I don't know. I'd almost like them to go one step further and do something new every episode instead of like
just a one-time thing.
The one-time thing across like 12 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's going to be annoying. It could be good. I haven't watched it yet. Cool concept, but I don't know.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it.
So did you actually watch any of it?
Yeah. It's not a series. It's just it's like a show. It's a documentary.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was a series.
No, it's a one-time documentary, and it's an experiment that he did, and the experiment was to test social pressure, right? So when you're in a social,
you would actually like cover up a murder, right?
Cover up a murder and kill somebody.
Wow.
So they ended up running through. It was pretty funny. So just to kind of not to spoil it, but they in order to get enough people to get the right person to do this experiment on, they brought people into a room to see how socially compliant they were, because everyone has a natural state of social compliance, right? So they had like a row of chairs, like maybe 15 chairs in a room, and they were all lined up. And there was 3 people at the very end of the row sitting together, and those 3 were all actors, and they were all in on it, right? And so they're in this room, and they were all like writing, like taking an exam or a questionnaire or something, and somebody behind, like in the back of the room that was not shown, would ring a bell, just ding a bell, and the 3 people on the end would all sit down kind of together and continue to take their exam. Nobody would say anything. Then they would bring in the actual one person, one of the real people that they were trying to vet out, and they'd walk into the room, and the 3 actors would be sitting there, and the guy would come in and would just sit down, and all of a sudden the bell would ring, And the three actors would get up, and the dude sitting there would just kind of look over at him, and then he would just kind of stand up and keep taking the exam, and then the bell would ring, and the three actors would sit down, and he would sit down, and so eventually they just kept bringing in one person after another, and this one woman came in. She was like the fourth or fifth person in, and she came in and she just sat down and was taking her exam, and the bell was ringing, and people were standing and sitting, standing and sitting, and she just kept sitting there. She was not socially compliant at all. And they actually removed her from the experiment. They came in, got her, and they walked out.
Yeah, because she's not going to play their bullshit reindeer
right.
games.
And they ended up filling up all of the chairs with all of the real people that were socially compliant. And then they asked the three actors to leave. So now you've got nothing but real people that aren't in on it, aren't talking to each other. And the guy just ringing the bell. Ding, they'd all sit down. Ding, they'd all stand up. Ding, they'd all sit down. And so that's what they started with their test group. That's what they took their test group, and then they vetted them out. It was just an incredible documentary about what you're capable of doing in a social pressure or social environment.
Well, what was that Stanford? I don't remember. Gosh.
Yeah, it's very similar to the Stanford experiment.
With the jail, the prison.
The prison, they take,
the guys were playing prisoners, and then the prison guards were playing prison guards.
Yes.
The next thing you know, people are getting beat up and raped.
Well, I will tell you, being
or whatever it was, I don't think there was any rape, but still, it was bad.
Having been a corrections officer, I can tell you that anyone that watches that calls bullshit on it, I'm telling you, as a corrections officer, I can tell you that I've seen things that
blow your mind.
Put it this way, I had to quit being a corrections officer because I was not able to be socially compliant to some bullshit. There you go. That's all I'll say about that.
Yep.
So, anyway, totally derailed, but yeah.
But this is kind of the deal, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So we can't record, but we could pull the audio.
That's true. Yeah, we could definitely do that. I could do that. That's a good idea.
Since we're working our way through this again, it's almost like we're starting over, which is
okay. So let's do that. So for those of you that are on here listening, either live or on the replay, you've been privy to a lot of jackassery early Sunday morning, which is awesome. It's the way we roll. But we're going to actually take this episode or this audio from the show, and we're going to strip it out, and we're going to turn it into this Friday's podcast episode. It'll be an episode of Change Your POV. And it won't be an attack, I don't think. I think it's just going to be a regular Change Your POV show.
I don't think there's going to be much actionable tips, tricks, and culturable knowledge coming out of this, but you know. Yeah,
so for those that don't know, we got a bunch of shows on the Change Your POV podcast network, and you can find out more about that by heading over to changeyourpov.com. And Bennett and I, we do one of two shows. We either do a Change Your POV show, which is the flagship show of the network, or we do an Attack Friday, which is an acronym that stands for Actionable Tips and Tricks, Coachable Knowledge. But today, this episode that we're going to strip out, we're going to turn it into a regular Change Your POV episode. It will be airing this Friday. So what we're going to do is we're going to describe we talked about it yesterday already, and we kind of alluded to it during our individual Facebook Lives. But let's just walk through really quick, Bennett, what we're going to do the next 30 days, which is 28 days now. But for the next 30 days, we're going to be doing this. We challenged each other to do an exercise on trust, gratitude, and forgiveness. And so, Bennett, let's kick off the show, and then let's get into that, okay? Mm-hmm. All right. Hello, folks. You're listening to Change Your POV on the Change Your POV podcast network. I am your host, Eddie Lazary.
And I'm Bennett Tanton.
And today we're going to talk about our 30-day challenge on trust, gratitude, and forgiveness. Bennett, I'm going to turn it over to you. What is it that we're doing for the next 30 days? Explain.
So this isn't a new concept, obviously, trust, gratitude, and forgiveness, right? But I don't know how many people put it together and look at it as a way of living a more fulfilling life. Trusting yourself and others, having gratitude for what you have right now and what people in your space have, and also offer you and what you offer them, being grateful for that whole part of your life. And then forgiveness might be the most important part, and that's actual forgiveness of yourself and of others, both friends, family, enemies, people that affect you in everyday life. It could be the guy that cuts you off in traffic. You guys will hear me say that ad nauseum, because frankly, it's a problem in our culture. People get road rage and yell, and I'm guilty of it, but it's a matter of the next thing you know is you got to let it move away.
Yeah.
So what I will be doing, and Eddie will be doing as well, is giving you things over the next 30 days on what to kind of work on to institute or work those trust, gratitude, and forgiveness muscles in yourself. Because it's something that, and Eddie has talked about this previously, it's not something that comes natural to him.
Right.
And that's something that we find a lot, is that living in the present is part of the key, right? And knowing how your actions are affecting people and how those things are affecting you as well. So this is a learning experience for us as well. Even though I've been doing it for a while, I'm not perfect. And I'm not saying that I am. My wife, who I don't know is still watching or not, can attest that is far from the truth, that I'm perfect. So, but I try, damn it. And that's all that you can do, is learn, educate yourself, and execute, right? So that's what we're going to be giving you over the next 30 days.
So where did this initial concept come from? I mean, obviously you didn't invent trust, gratitude, and forgiveness, but I think when we first met, it wasn't too long after we first started doing this, you brought in this 3-element concept of trust, gratitude, and forgiveness, and you've actually done specific shows on trust and gratitude and forgiveness, 3 separate shows, and you talk about it a lot. And it really is kind of one of those, I hear that trust, gratitude, forgiveness, and I immediately think of you as that's like your mantra. So like,
well, that's good, because that's kind of the point.
Right.
My mantra.
Yeah, you're like the trust, gratitude, forgiveness guy. So where did this come from? Like, what was it, an event that happened? Was it just a culmination of things in your life? Like why did this become such a big deal for you?
Yeah, I'd say it's a culmination of things. Everything. All right. So the trust part, I've kind of had to put myself out there, because the way that I grew up, I kind of grew up, I mean, I had a family, a loving family and everything, but I didn't really, the best way to describe it is it's like I was kind of a kid that did his own thing, right? So I had to become very good at learning how to trust people, right? So it started as a young kid, and then moved on to after the military, really being able to put yourself out there, right? To put myself out there, because I found that if I do that, good things will come your way, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have, unfortunately, I think in our society, we have an inherent distrust, because there's a lot of crazy shit out there. And if you go by what it's, what the media says and everything else, you won't trust anybody, right?
Yeah.
So you need to first be able to trust others. But I said that incorrectly. You need to be able to trust others, but first you have to learn how to trust yourself, trust your own judgment. So I learned that as a young age, to trust my own judgment. But then the military happened. So I'll go back to this. The military happened, and some bad shit happened, right? As a leader, made some bad decisions. People may have died. People got blown up, whatever. That was on me as I looked at it. I mean, even not deploying to Afghanistan, I hold guilt over that. So I learned that, wait, So it's on me, but I'm putting that on me. So I need to learn to trust my judgment again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really where that came from. The gratitude part came from a mixture of the trusting and guilt. And I met a gentleman named Daryl Fusaro who does his, who you've heard me talk about, and we've interviewed, actually.
Yep.
So his big thing on me was, is that he's had a rough childhood as well and got through it. And he talked about being grateful for things, just the little things in your life. And it resonated with me. And of course, it's all concepts that I knew, but it didn't, you have that one moment where it's like a lightning strikes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. So then the gratitude kicked in where it was like, yeah, because what everyone else is doing doesn't mean shit. Really.
Yeah.
You can be grateful for things that other people do for you, but you need to be grateful for what you have and where you're at. Not about what in the past. I mean, you can be, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
So that Daryl Fusaro really brought that to me and I look at it, I'm very grateful to him it's a gift. And he does, I'll give him a little plug. Him and another awesome gentleman whose name is Ed as well,
mm-hmm.
do a show called The Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed. It's a podcast, but it's actually aired on Unity FM, and then they rebroadcast it as a podcast and as on YouTube. So check him out. It's a good show. He's a vet. Daryl's a Coast Guard vet, so you can, he's the token coastie guy.
Right.
But
Yeah.
a great artist, really funny dude. And that's where the gratitude part really came to light. And then the forgiveness part is because of I had a kind of I blamed a lot of other people for issues in my life because my dad went to jail when I was 10, or I didn't have a father, or I didn't have a mom that was there all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could very easily blame all of your problems on those types of things, or you can forgive that and move on with life. So it's just seeing trust, gratitude, and forgiveness. If you don't have those three things in your life, you're not going to move forward effectively. If you harbor resentment and you harbor fear because you don't trust yourself or others to do what they're supposed to do, it's like micromanagement.
Mm.
You can't just always micromanage your life. Sometimes you have to trust the people in it. This is one of the reasons, like who you marry, and this is to younger people that might hear, or to parents that are raising children, who you marry is the best investment you'll ever make. You can look at that however you want, but that is an investment with time, effort, love, and all that.
Right.
And too often people just look at it as she's hot, her ass is banging, let's go have some, and then they end up having kids, and the next thing wow, it's horrific that they get married for all the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And Danielle and I, who just, so she's still watching, it's a partnership. More than, yes, she's my soulmate, period.
Well, I thought I was, but okay.
And she would probably attest to that as well. Like, oh, there's your boyfriend.
That's what Heather says. She's like, who's that? I was like, Ben. It's like, oh, your boyfriend. Okay, got it. When you talk about trust, gratitude, and forgiveness, I often think about it being a three-legged stool, right? You try to sit on a two-legged stool, it's going to be very awkward, and the more drunk you are, the more awkward it becomes, right? If you sit on a one-legged stool, you're just like asking for trouble, right? So these three elements or concepts, pillars, whatever you want to call them, the three-legged stool. It really.
Well, one of the ways, I don't want to cut you off, but one of the ways you can look at it is you can't sit on a stool unless it's a three-legged stool.
Right.
Right. So you have those as pillars, but then you add in other pillars like who your partner is.
That's like the little cross members of each of the stools, right? Providing that stability.
Or they could be more legs.
More legs.
To stable stool, right? I mean, use the stool as the analogy of your life.
Yeah.
So, partners, friends, family. I mean, we all have heard the adage, you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with,
right.
Or whatever adage you want. So who you surround yourself with is, if you surround yourself with drug addicts and drunks,
mm-hmm.
you're going to be a drug addict or a drunk.
Yeah.
That's usually what happens, right? So
yep.
if you want to be successful, then go find some successful people. But you need to find like-hearted folks.
Not like-minded.
They're like-minded.
Describe that. Say that again. A lot of people are like taking a double take here about that.
So like-hearted people have the same values and the same, they care about the stuff that really matters, frankly, to you.
Mm-hmm.
So their morals, their values are all the same. But they could be and let's just use something that people can understand, political views. Right-wing conservatives, left-wing liberals, right? Just because they think that people don't look at each other, they look at each other in tribes instead of like-heartedness, right? So even though you might be on opposite ends of the political spectrum, all the stuff in the middle is what matters.
Mm-hmm.
So 90% of your life is identical to this other person. So you need to have enough wherewithal to figure that out. They might not believe in having guns. Gun control might be their biggest thing, and you might be completely for guns, but you still believe that your kids need to be educated well, and you like pizza a lot, and all the stuff that really matters is in here.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't see that. All they see is the fringes, and it's bullshit. So find all the commonalities that you have, right, in moral values, and that's where you find the like-hearted. You need people that aren't like-minded, because otherwise you're preaching to the choir and you're not learning anything. So this person talking, if you're all over here having your little freaking
love fest
meeting,
yeah.
You're all just talking to you're all each just jerking each other off.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, they're going to be like, no, I think you're full of shit. And he's going to be like, yeah, no, I am. But here's why. And then we have civil discourse, we learn, and then we can all get along. Otherwise, we're all going to be fighting each other all the time. So like-hearted versus like-minded. You don't want to be surrounded by people that think exactly like you, because then you'll never grow. So
can we apply that to business?
Of course. Like because I don't think the same way that you do by any stretch of your imagination when it comes to processes on doing things. I'm always flying. You're like, whoa, dude. We need to come up with a plan,
mm-hmm.
right? We think a lot differently, and I mean, the end state and the end goals are the same, but our processes are different. The same with Nick Ripplinger or Michael Penny or all the people that we do business with. We're all different in the way that we do it, but it's set up like that because I want to put an idea out there, and I don't want everyone to go, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do that. Instead, yes, I want Eddie to be like, no, man, I think I like what you're saying, but I think we need to do it this way. You're such a dick.
I know. So I think when I first heard this concept about being aligning yourself with like-hearted people versus like-minded people, that was a lightning strike moment for me, right? And because so many times we surround ourselves with like-minded people, and it's really easy to not be in a place where you can accept a different alternative, right? Which is kind of the whole essence of change your POV, is change your point of view. And I like to use the analogy of for the veterans out there, you've got a battle space, right? and you've got adjacent units. In each unit, whether it's a platoon-sized element or a battalion-sized element or a brigade-sized element, whatever, each of those elements has a lane, right? And there's a left limit and a right limit. And then over here, they have their left limit and their right limit. Now, even though everybody's in their separate lanes, everybody is moving towards the same objective, right? Whatever that objective is. But within each of those individual lanes, those elements are gonna, their mind is gonna be focused on something different. Their heart is the objective, right? So in my lane, my mind may be on the river that I have to cross in order to get there. My adjacent unit to my left, his mind is getting around the mountain range in his sector. And the person to my right over here on my right limit, he has something else on his mind in terms of how he's going to get from the line of departure to the objective. So all three of us all have a different mindset on how we're going to get from point A to point B. We all have different objectives. We all have different, what I mean by objective, like individual, like, movement to contact objectives.
But the
mission's the same. We're all headed in the right direction. We all want the same ultimate goal, the same thing, right? And I think we can apply that analogy to ourselves in our life. Like, here's an example. I had a mastermind group a while back, and that I started, and I found myself in this mastermind group with a whole bunch of people that all thought the same thing about everything, and there wasn't enough challenging engagement happening that really pushed me out of my comfort zone. Like, and again, this was kind of a learned thing. It definitely wasn't something that I just woke up one day and was like, oh, I like to be challenged, right? At first, especially when I first got out of the military, like, I didn't want to be challenged. I wanted to surround myself with like-minded people because I didn't even consider the whole like-hearted idea. And so I surrounded myself with a bunch of people that thought the same thing that I thought, believed the same thing that I believed. And it's a very comfortable place to be. But then I realized in order to really, truly grow as a person, as a man, as a father, as a husband, you've got to be challenged in the ways that you think about things and execute on things. And the only way to do that is to accept alternate realities into your life, right? Bring other people into your life that challenge those thought processes. So, bringing you into my life, challenged my thought process about meditation and about all these alternative forms of therapy. I never even really considered it before. I mean, so much so that I was just like, didn't even think about it because it just wasn't even on my radar.
Oh, hippity-dippity bullshit.
Right, exactly. But being aligning myself with people that are not like-minded but like-hearted. I mean, take our network for example. You got, we got
Motley Crue folks.
Jeff and Dwayne and Kevin and Andrew and Ben. I mean, everybody on our team. Some are veterans, some aren't. We live all across the country, and we don't always align from a mindset, but we are all aligned from a heart set. And I think that's what makes us such a powerful team, is that we have the ability to leverage each other's strengths and weaknesses and be okay with the fact that I'm not the best at this and he's not the best at that. And we can play off of each other that way. And, we don't always agree on everything. But
we have our own lanes.
We do have our own, that's right. We do. And that's part of trust, right? We have to know enough about ourselves to trust what our capabilities and what our limitations are. And then we have to trust other people in our lives to be able to kind of carry that water for us, right?
And be grateful that we have them.
Right.
And that that we found them and that we're capable of relying on them to do the things that we're asking them to do. Mm-hmm. And it's very natural. Right?
Yeah.
So there's trust, there's gratitude, and then forgiveness might not come in on this, but it also, there's things that we've done and decisions we've made that maybe they didn't agree with, or yet that they've done that we haven't agreed with. But so that all forgiveness comes into it. So again, everything, if you put it through that filter, trust, gratitude, forgiveness, it's just about moving on with life from present moment to present moment.
Yeah. And like you said at the beginning, a lot of this isn't really about others. It's about ourselves, right?
Correct. We are where our consciousness happens. I mean, you are in your own space.
Yeah.
That's it. You can't affect, you truly, I mean, you can affect what happens around you, but you truly are only the master of what is right here.
Right.
Right. So
yeah, Nick,
people can't even live within themselves, let alone try to live life.
Right.
So you've got to get straight here before you can be straight out there. Right.
Yeah.
So I just think too much focus is put on just so much bullshit versus people actually looking at themselves, taking accountability for what they do and who they are. And if you're not, you can change. People say, oh, you can't change. You're full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. I hate it when people say that. I mean, yeah, you might, you know why you can't change? Because it's fucking hard.
Right.
That's why.
And it takes work.
And you have to want it.
Yeah.
You have to want it. It takes work. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, Nick just says resilience, and they get stuck doing that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's their norm. It's their easy. That muscle just gets trained over and over again. So again, what do we come down to? Do something different.
Mm-hmm.
Just try it.
Yep.
Give it 30 days. Give it 21 days, whatever.
So for those listening,
try something different.
For those listening, Bennett, you and I are going to be talking about this for the next 30 days. What are some things that we're asking people to do that want to kind of do more than just get up early on Saturday and Sunday morning and listen to us, our tomfoolery? Are we going to put together some, maybe a page on Change Your POV where we can put together some like small challenges that people can go to and try to implement in their life? I think that might be a good idea.
I think it's a good idea. Plus, I mean, I'm going to do a little shameless product placement here.
Okay.
Probably come April, May at the very latest, we will be publishing a workbook based on our Motivation Mondays.
That's right.
And a lot of this is going to be covered in that too, or at least if you go through that 30-day process, you're going to come out the other side a different person.
Right. Talk to me about
we're creating these tools to give people, self-assessment tools. That was the other really big one that we always harp on. And we'll have one of those up on that page that you talk of, because we've talked about doing that for only a year and haven't done it.
Right.
But a true self-assessment, I think you and I have done more self-assessments than anyone else combined on the planet.
We've tried them all, right?
And have come up with a couple ones that are already canned that are really good. Plus, I think, there's specific ththings that we want people to look at when they assess their actual skills. Because, I mean, if you're going to go through this life being unhappy,
what's the point, right?
What's the fucking point, man?
Yeah.
I mean, I think what serving in the military, what going to combat, what doing the things that we've done has showed us, if nothing else, is that life is really freaking short.
Yeah.
And if you're going to waste your time doing just shit that makes you miserable, why?
Yeah.
Do something different. Do something that you're passionate about. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Again, full disclosure, the job that I do on a daily basis, I'm not the happiest with. Not going to say I'm completely miserable, because I'm doing I'm doing a really good thing, I guess, at the end of the day, I guess, if you look at it. But I'm not happy doing it anymore.
Yeah.
So that's why we do things like this. This is why, but I have other things that I'm doing to remedy that issue.
Right. No,
and everyone can do that.
Not being happy anymore. Was this a gradual thing? Like, at what point did you look at yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, this isn't what I want to be doing in my life?
Well, it really kind of hits you when all of a sudden you realize that you can be doing so much more, but because you actually care about doing your job, you don't shirk your duties.
Right.
So it's not like I can do my side gigs or like what we're doing or whatever while I'm at work, because that's just not cool.
Right.
And people suffer for that. So in turn, I look at that and I go, it's just kind of, so now I work, at night, almost every night, or on Sunday mornings at, 8 a.m.
Yeah.
When most people are in bed, so do I waste time sometimes? Of course, because I'm human.
Not you.
I'm not gonna, I'm not holier than thou. I'm not, there's nothing that you can throw at me that I haven't done that's full and be like, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't listen to people that have experience.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So I have a lot of experience failing, just like we all do. I have a lot of experience talking tons of bullshit, just like we all do. I think the difference is, though, is that I've learned from a lot of my bullshit, and I try to implement it the best that I can.
Yeah, man.
It's execution.
Yep.
Can't just hit an easy button all the time, even though that's easy. It's one of our great sayings that we always say. Shit's simple.
It's simple.
But it
ain't easy. Yeah, man.
So.
All right. Thanks for this, man. It's great talk. We're gonna wrap it up, and folks, this will be airing this Friday during the Change Your POV scheduled slot. You can head over to changeyourpov.com and check out more of our great shows. And Bennett and I think we're going to be putting together a page for this trust, gratitude, and forgiveness idea, and I think we're gonna put some challenges on there, and I don't know if it'll be like 30 daily 30-day challenges, or if we're going to just put a few in. I don't know. So we'll have to talk about that. But I definitely want to get some people to participate and check that out. We might even put together a Trust, Gratitude, and Forgiveness teachable site where people can go on there and we can have everything contained all in one spot. Any workbooks or self-assessments, anything like that we've already created, we can put there so people can go and try that out. There's a lot of brainstorming exercises that Bennett and I do all the time in order to get a different level of introspection and also come up with ideas and generate different concepts. So we'd be more than happy to share that with everybody as well. So it's tools that we use that work for us. Call them hippity-dippity, call them productivity, you can call them whatever you want to, right? If it works, it works, right? I mean, the first person that came up with that post hole digger, right? And somebody looked at that and said, "Man, that's the stupidest thing I ever saw." Until they actually used the damn thing, and like, "Damn, it's so much easier to dig a hole with this thing," right? If it works, it works, no matter what it looks like or how silly it may sound or look to someone. If it works, it works. So, with that, folks, thanks for tuning in to this morning's discussion on trust, gratitude, and forgiveness. Thank you, Bennett, for your time, and Dan for allowing us the opportunity to get together and talk shit. And for those of you that are out there watching this live or watching the replay, or maybe you're not on live or the replay, you're listening to this on the podcast, thanks for tuning in. Again, you can find all of the show notes for this episode by heading over to changeyourpov.com. And look for, at the very top, you'll see shows. Look for Change Your POV, and it'll be there. So that's it. That's all I got to say. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, man. Peace.
Bye.